short week football, which is ever present throughout the season now, involves the Dallas Cowboys. First time in a long time, probably first time ever they've played on a short week this early in the season, because their short week every year is Thanksgiving. They've had the hammerlock for decades. We see them on the road against the New York Giants. And because Jerry Jones does a weekly Tuesday and Friday spot on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas throughout the season, he always gives us something good, whether he intends to or not, on Tuesday. So the Cowboys now 1-2. And the guys on the morning show in Dallas, they're not afraid to ask him tough questions. And they asked him yesterday, who's to blame for the mess that has been the Cowboys the past couple of weeks? Here's Jerry Jones on that.
That's very fair. That's very fair. It's well known that no decision is ultimately made there for what I either have it acquiesced or approve it. That's very fair. How could you think otherwise if we are basically, whether it be who's out there coaching, whether it be who's out there playing, whether it be the stadium you're walking into, whatever it is here, that's the way it is. Now, let me just say this. Do I have a huge amount of input in making those decisions? When they've done their homework, they are very influential input to me. And we've got a lot of people in the Dallas Cowboys that have done their input. And I think I've forgotten what it is. Now, I'm not trying to say this, but if you look at who's won the games over the last 4 or 5 years, Kansas City has, of course, but we're not far right. We're right in that pack. Now we're in a soft spot. We've got to get out of it.
You know you're not successful in the postseason when you focus exclusively on your success in the regular season, which is what the Cowboys have been. 12-5, 3 straight seasons of 12 wins, and what do you ultimately have to show for it? And by the way, the over-under on me screwing up a throw to sound was 10 minutes. If you had the under, go cash your ticket. I should have said that was Jerry responding specifically to a poll from WFAA. 78% of the people who responded blamed him for the shortcomings early in the season. So he said, that's fair. That's fair. And I what else is he going to say? Because if he says he's not fair, he's got to figure out who else to blame. If it's not him, he's got to point the finger at somebody else.
Well, Mike, I was trying to help me out here because I listened to that a few times. And the first time I said, oh, wow, good for Jerry for taking responsibility. He's being accountable. That's a great answer from the owner/general manager. But then when I just listened to it there, I heard him say, that's fair. However, there are some other people that I think what he's trying to say is there are people I've given power to. I'm responsible, but they have input. And they're to blame too. Am I misreading that with the input thing? Because I think input's it's not the word I would use, but it sounds like he's saying that.
You're right, but he's ultimately responsible. He does delegate. And when you make yourself the GM, on one hand, I respect it because I know a lot of these owners meddle and they hide behind the football people they hire and they make them accountable ultimately for the decisions that were influenced by, if not outright made by ownership that go belly up. And Jerry doesn't have that buffer. He can't fire himself. I remember Bob Costas asking him that question years ago. Would you fire yourself if you could? Well, I can't. That's the beauty of being the owner. The owner never gets fired. That's Jed York's line from 7 years ago. You don't dismiss an owner. So when the owner is holding the final say on football and the title of GM, it's on you. But yeah, there's others who are giving him input, but he's making the decisions. I don't know how many decisions he actually makes. I think the idea was, and when I listen to Jerry Jones, it's hard not to tune out because it's just word salad, word salad, word salad. How about them Cowboys? That's basically his answer to every question. And he spun back around to how about them Cowboys, touting their regular season record over the last 5 years, even though they still haven't been to an NFC Championship game since 1995. I just think this is another example of guy who says whatever he has to say to get through the question, find a way to brag, and please keep coming to the games. Please keep giving me your money. Please keep watching the Cowboys on TV, no matter how bad we might be. And that's where he's a master. They're still America's team, even though they
He
have
is.
nothing to show for it, Michael, in 30 years.
He's so good at it. I mean, in that answer, he starts off talking about, yeah, I'm responsible, for, no matter what you look at, I'm responsible for it. But then we start talking about, hey, when I took over the Cowboys, I fired the franchise icon, the legendary Tom Landry, and we won one game, and you couldn't believe the stuff that people said about me. And we'd go around the country, and whether you hated the Cowboys, like, why are we talking about this? Now he's giving us the oral history of the Dallas Cowboys and not really focused on that poll. 78%. Now I'm surprised it's that high in Texas. I think if you're a non-Cowboys fan, at 78%, that sounds reasonable. I'm proud of them, the fans who voted, because they're right. I tried to find a way to say that, it's 30% Jerry and then put some on Zimmer, put some on Mike McCarthy. No, it's probably 75 to 80% on Jerry Jones because he's the tone setter. As he said, everything that's wrong with the Cowboys, I think, goes back to him. He's had a terrible offseason. As a general manager, it's been a really bad offseason, from managing expectations to decisions that they've made on the field to decisions that they've made with the coaching staff so far. It looks like just an epically bad offseason for GM.
And it's, on one hand, admirable to stand up and take responsibility. On the other hand, when you have no accountability, it's easy to take responsibility. Because he ain't getting fired. He owns the team. He owns the team as long as he wants to own the team. He can take responsibility for anything. And there's going to be no consequences to him. Unless and until, and this is the great conundrum that sports fans have, the only way you can send a message to an owner who is driving the franchise into the ground is to deprive yourself of the thing you love. We love the Cowboys. We want to follow the Cowboys. We want to go to Cowboys games. It's an integral part of our an integral part, and maybe it feels like fart, of our family experience. We've been doing it for years. We love going to the games. This is what we do. We don't want to boycott the Cowboys until Jerry sells. We don't want to not watch the games until the ratings are so bad, the value, it's too nebulous. It's too long of a project. See, that's the thing. They've got us. We're hooked. Even if the drugs go bad, we still want the drugs. So the thing that would cause him...
Right. What's the Cowboys drug? What's that drug called?
Well, it's nasty. It's but they still need it. Cowboys fans still need it. So, and I feel bad because think of name a franchise that's run by a bad owner right now. If you love the feeling of winning, rare as it might be, and I think for some fans, you kind of get addicted as well to the feeling of disappointment because you get so damn used to it. But yeah, it's a perfect situation. There's no way for Jerry Jones to ever face true accountability. So you just keep going. You do what you want, motivated by whatever, and yeah, I'm responsible. So what? What are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Yeah, you know what I'd like to hear, and you're right, Mike, and it's really a helpless feeling as a fan. Like when you have a truly bad franchise, let's say, okay, you said name a bad franchise, even though they won last week, the Panthers. So if you have a guy like David Tepper, and you don't even have regular season success. We're making fun of Jerry for, hey, you're bragging about the regular season and your annual 12-5s and getting bounced in the first game of the playoffs or second game of the playoffs. Imagine being in Carolina. You don't even make the playoffs. You're out of it by November, and then you got an owner who's just sitting there, or what Washington went through with Daniel Snyder for a generation. You're just sitting there saying, would this guy get out of the way? And you can't do anything about it. That's frustrating. The Cowboys are even more frustrating because they have some success. But you wonder, and this is what I want the radio guys to ask Jerry, how badly do you want to break that drought? Like, how badly do you want to do it? Because you say it, but your actions don't really line up with what you say. Like, didn't he say last year at the end of that, when they got bounced by Green Bay, didn't he say, we're all in? Wasn't that his comment? We're all in.
Oh, yes.
We're all in. Okay, you're all in, and yet you wait until the last minute to sign Dak Prescott. You wait so long to sign CeeDee Lamb that he misses training camp. You get embarrassed at home. Let's just circle back a little bit. You get embarrassed at home to Green Bay. You got Mike McCarthy, and not that I'm saying, the guy should lose. I don't root for anybody to lose their job, but if you really want to get back to the Super Bowl, and this guy is part of the problem, part of the failure, you bring back Mike McCarthy when Bill Belichick is out there. I wonder, you say you really want to get back, but all the actions seem to suggest that you're okay with the status quo. You're okay with just kind of being the face of the Cowboys without really asking some hard questions and making some tough decisions.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.